The signal appeared on the outskirts of known space, an anomaly unlike any other the Council had seen. It was massive, moving with purpose and carrying an energy signature that immediately triggered alarms across multiple systems. The Council, ever cautious and reliant on diplomacy, quickly assembled to discuss this new arrival. Their methods had kept peace for millennia, relying on consensus and careful negotiations. But this was different. The object, foreign and imposing, approached their territories without explanation, and its mere presence sent waves of anxiety rippling through the peaceful galaxy. A decision was made. A team would be sent to establish contact, to determine the intentions of this unknown entity before it ventured further into their space. It was, after all, their responsibility to maintain peace. On the vessel, the humans watched the distant stars with anticipation. They had traveled farther than anyone before them, venturing into unknown territory in hopes of establishing relations with new civilizations. Their mission was one of exploration and diplomacy. Yet, the silence they received in response to their signals was unnerving. Their leader, experienced in exploration but new to these uncharted regions, pondered the lack of response. "Why are they not answering?" they asked, frustration evident in their voice. Their navigator monitored the incoming presence. "They're getting closer. I don't think they trust us." As the unknown vessels drew near, a tension settled over both sides. The alien fleet maneuvered cautiously, surrounding the humans with precision. Despite the humans' attempts to broadcast peaceful intentions, their system suddenly registered a surge of hostile energy. Without warning, pulses of energy erupted from the approaching forces. The response from the human vessel was immediate, though unintended. Automated systems flared to life, creating a shimmering barrier that protected them from the initial attack. The humans had come with peaceful intentions, but their technology, built for survival, acted defensively. The resulting exchange was devastating. A burst of power from the human craft disabled several of the approaching vessels, sending them careening into the void. The humans stood in silence, shocked at the speed with which the situation had deteriorated. On the other side of the encounter, within the command center of the alien force, the diplomat responsible for the mission watched in horror as their ships were disabled. "This wasn't supposed to happen," they said, their voice strained. "We were supposed to assess, not provoke." But others in their fleet were less forgiving. To them, the newcomers were a threat, advanced and dangerous. The sight of their disabled allies, now drifting helplessly, fueled the growing belief that this new species could not be trusted. Back on the human vessel, the leader was grappling with their own internal conflict. They had prepared for the possibility of misunderstanding, but not for a battle. Their goal had always been peaceful exploration, and now they were facing a situation that could spiral into all-out conflict. "We didn't want this," the leader said, addressing their crew. "We came here to explore, to establish contact, not to destroy." But they attacked first, one of their officers pointed out, still shaken by the events. "How do we know they won't try again?" The crew was divided. Some argued for a full defensive stance, believing that the alien fleet had already shown aggression. Others hoped there was still a chance to de-escalate the situation, to communicate their peaceful intentions before things got worse. Escalation of conflict. The clash that followed was inevitable. More forces arrived from the alien side, responding to the initial engagement with a show of strength. They moved in perfect synchronization, their formations tightening as they prepared to overwhelm the human vessel. Though the humans had superior technology, they were vastly outnumbered, and their defensive systems could only hold for so long. Tensions rose. The alien forces were not backing down, and the humans, caught in a precarious position, debated their next move. The leader of the human vessel ordered their systems to stay on defense, refusing to initiate further hostilities. Yet, with every passing moment, the alien fleet closed in. "We're surrounded," one of the humans reported. "They're going to attack again. We can't respond with violence," the leader insisted. "We have to find a way to show them we mean no harm." But communication remained impossible. The alien forces were too cautious, too afraid of the human vessel's power to listen. As another volley of energy erupted, the humans were forced to defend themselves once again, and the cycle of violence continued. Far away, within the grand chambers of the council, the news of the conflict spread rapidly. What had once been a routine diplomatic mission had now turned into a crisis. Voices within the council grew louder, some calling for immediate retaliation, others urging restraint. The diplomat who had been assigned to oversee the first contact mission spoke up. "We cannot allow fear to drive us into war. We must understand that this new species is acting out of self-defense." But their words fell on deaf ears. Others in the council, concerned by the reports of destroyed ships, demanded action. They saw the newcomers as a threat to the delicate balance of peace the council had maintained for so long. The fractures within the council deepened, as some factions pushed for war, while others pleaded for diplomacy. With tensions at their peak, an opportunity arose for a secret meeting between the human leader and an alien diplomat who still believed in peace. They met far from the conflict, in a neutral zone where the stars glittered silently in the vastness of space. Both leaders were wary, knowing they could be seen as traitors by their own sides. But as they spoke, it became clear that neither had wanted this conflict. Misunderstanding and fear had driven them to this point, and now both sides stood on the edge of war. Before they could finalize any agreement, an attempt on their lives was made by extremists from both factions. Those who believed peace was no longer an option. Forced to flee, the human leader and the alien diplomat worked together to evade their attackers, forging an unexpected bond as they realized just how precarious their situation had become. As they returned to their respective fleets, the final confrontation loomed. The human vessel was now surrounded by a vast armada. The alien forces prepared to launch a full-scale attack. The humans readied themselves for what could be their last stand, knowing that they were outnumbered and outgunned. But at the last moment, the human leader broadcasted a message to the alien fleet. Using the communication system, they shared footage of their meeting with the alien diplomat, exposing the extremists on both sides who had sabotaged their efforts at peace. The alien forces hesitated. The truth, now laid bare, caused a ripple of uncertainty. The council itself was forced to pause, realizing that they had been manipulated by those who sought war for their own gain. In the aftermath of the broadcast, the conflict was called off. The human vessel withdrew from the region, and the council, though still divided, began the slow process of negotiating a more permanent solution. Both sides were left to reflect on how close they had come to total war, and how fragile peace could be. The human leader and the alien diplomat, though hailed as heroes by some, remained controversial figures. They had averted a war, but the trust between their species and the council was far from certain. And while peace had been restored, both knew it could unravel at any moment. The galaxy remained on edge, with the future relations between humans and the council still uncertain.